Hey guys, welcome to another episode of my Dark Avengers comic book review. We will be reviewing comics from this week, which was Wednesday, May 18th, 2011. News-wise for comic books, I only have one thing, which I'm holding in my hand now. This week, the animated feature Thor Tales of Asgard DVD was released. I haven't had a chance to actually view this yet, but I'm going to definitely be viewing this soon as I view this. All-Star Superman, Green Lantern First Flight, and in 2 weeks, Green Lantern Emerald Warriors. So I've got a lot of DVD catching up to do, but that's beside the point. Be honest, it's got a huge rave, and it's been a while. This was actually advertised before Planet Hulk, and it turned out Planet Hulk actually beat this story out. This was supposed to come out after the first after Hulk versus. The whole Hulk versus Thor was supposed to lead up to the Thor DVD, but I think something happened and they switched up, and they'll release Planet Hulk and then this. I'm looking forward to seeing this finally. I watched the coming attractions, the creation or the drawing of it, so it's actually good to finally have the DVD out. The cover's beautiful. Yeah. Love the slipcase. Yes. Anyway, getting into this week's comic books right away. 2 independents, one I'm doing, one Amber's doing. First from Boom, and by the way, guys, you know Amber and Joe, my cameraman Mike. I forgot to do intros last week. I want to make sure I don't do that this week. Soldier Zero number 8. Okay, Stewart is out of control. The suit is trying to take over his mind, and basically App knows he has to get somebody or something to snap him out of it. And App goes up to Leslie, who is a friend of Stewart, and he actually wakes her out of the chronic sleep, whatever they're in, and he uses her to snap Stewart out of the suit's control, and basically he regains control of the suit, and now they have to basically escape because they're in danger. So App helps them escape. Actually, he stays behind and allows them the free time to escape, because now Stewart has to take, I want to say Lily, I want to make sure it's Lily, I'm not saying the wrong name. It's very important. Right here. He wakes her up in this page right here. Kaylee. Ooh, see? See, it wasn't Lily, it was Kaylee. Anyway. And Soldier Zero and Kaylee escape, and basically now they're on the run. And that's basically the end of this issue. This is so awesome. App, I hope we see App again very soon. He says he's going to... Soldier Zero didn't want to leave him behind, but he says, don't worry, I'll get out of it fine. And the last time you actually see him is in one big, huge
around the soup bowl.
explosion. This was an epic page.
Yeah, it's nice.
So I love this comic, love the artwork. Little extra Planet of the Apes thing in the end. Soldier Zero is awesome. Like I said, this is the end of the second story arc, I believe. We're going into the third next. Soldier Zero has been awesome, the Traveler's been awesome, and Starborn has been pretty good. No offense to Starborn, but I hold that as one of my lower on the list. Soldier Zero has been action-packed since issue 1, so has the Traveler. Starborn's been action-packed too, but like I said, very hard to actually do in hierarchy if you really think about it. All 3 are on the same level. Let's just leave it at that. They're all 3 great. I would absolutely say check this out. It's presented by Stan Lee, but the real writers here are Dan Abnett. But awesome comic. Absolutely, I recommend all 3. This, and Traveler, and Starborn. And now Amber's going to be doing this one. I'll hold the comic up. I actually have to pull it out anyway because it's a wraparound. Because I always get the wraparound.
Okay, in this issue...
It's Lady Death number 5.
They can kind of see it.
Well, I always say the name of the issue.
In this issue...
Done?
Avenger, that's how you pronounce her name. She, once again, is... well, kicking ass.
Well, that's basically what she does in every single issue.
Yeah, but what happens here is... there's a guy that apparently is searching for one of the soul stones. And she saves his life by killing the demon that the Death Queen sent up to Earth or wherever they were. Some area that I forgot the name of. Sorry. But what happened is she tells him to go back, and he tells the Aborigines that are taking him through the forest that just means that it's there and that she's protecting it. He finds, well, she's kind of trapped by a plant. He grabs the stone, and in the end, she gets the stone, and there's like a to be continued, as always.
But didn't she have a flashback of her mother dying?
That's what I'm getting to.
Oh, well, she said to be continued.
There's a to be continued feeling to what happens. She has a flashback of her mother, and her mother's like, I'm letting go. Sorry. I'm going to get the wording right on this. Hope, why have you deserted me? No more, all lost. All is lost, you've won. I welcome the end. But I curse you forever, my daughter. And she's like, Mother, no. Don't you see? I have tried so hard to save you. You are my whole reason for being my everything. The Death Queen has
Next time on Dark Avengers C86, Amber will read an entire comic book.
Has taken it all away from me. Somehow, some way, I will avenge your death.
Page to page, next time on Dark Avengers C86.
And that's how it ends.
Chris, you just got the death look, no pun intended.
Yeah, I tend to get that a lot, apparently. Finally, now we're in Marvel, the big two. Namor, the First Mutant Annual #1. I knew it. It had to happen. First book, terrible artwork. Second book, good artwork. Last book, bad artwork. I'm just going to say they escaped the negative zone. Everybody has a happy ending in the end. I'm sorry. And anybody's who wants, they can contest this. I'm going to show you a picture. If you think I'm wrong, you're more than welcome to contest my opinion of this. I'm trying to find the picture.
Wow, that's a bad face.
That's a bad book.
Is that a face?
Is that a face? I don't know. But no, they escaped the negative zone. Namor, they have to snap him out of it. They finally snap him out. That's it. Tell me that's a good artwork, and I promise you. Tell me that's good artwork.
They look like mutants.
Really, tell me they are mutants.
No, but I mean, literally, they did a great job.
Is completely out of proportion here.
Yes, no, everything's.
Like her shoulders fall down to here, then everything else starts.
And then somebody else escapes the negative zone, and there's a big question mark at the end if it's really the end. But I'm sorry, this artwork is just awful. I mean, the cover actually told me. The cover, when I looked at the cover, I said, okay, I'm going to pull this comic out, and the artwork's going to just be awful. This was kind of epic, though, the Omega Blast right out of Cyclops' optic eye. But, I mean, come on. Very hard to actually enjoy the story with artwork, but still at the same time, the story itself was really good, but enjoying it with part 1 and part 3 being of terrible artwork, yeah, no.
I know the mutants, but my point was, they still have a human look to them. Shouldn't they give more of a mutant look? I don't know.
Yeah,
they're
no.
Mutants.
As far as the full run of the Escape from the Negative Zone, great story.
Funny artwork.
Bad and funny artwork. The most part. Second part was really good, though, with the artwork. And, like I said, the story's really good. It's up to you guys, but I'm being honest with you. If you have to choose between this or the 3-part series that's going on with Deadpool, Hulk, and Spider-Man, there's still the Hulk part coming. Stick with that. Also this week, when it comes to X-Men books, apparently I accidentally skipped over X-Force 10. X-2310 came out this week, and I kind of made a little mistake or a little slip-up, and I skipped over Uncanny X-Force, or I completely missed it, period. So I stuck it in for next week's order. It'll be here in 2 weeks unless I somehow get to a comic book store or I run into it somewhere. Then I'll stick it into next week's. But unfortunately, I accidentally made the mistake of looking over that comic. But it will be coming just
misleading
a little later.
Title.
Yeah, no, it's not really misleading at all. Avengers vs. New Ultimates issue 4. Very beginning, Spider-Man's okay. He basically, Captain America says it was a clean cut, and all hell breaks loose on the bridge after they apprehend Nick Fury, and the bridge explodes. Everybody goes their separate ways except Spidey, who somehow survives on the bridge, and that's where they leave you with Spider-Man. And we'll get to Spider-Man, what happens to Spider-Man in a little bit. I'm just going to conclude this. Now the story actually has nothing to do with the death of Spider-Man anymore.
That's why I don't think he's
now
going to die.
Now it goes back.
He's not going to die. We all know.
In a second, you might change that opinion. Okay, so Nick Fury, turns out that, big spoiler, Tony Stark's brother was behind the whole setting Nick Fury up, and in the end, Nick Fury's the one that gets full of lead, so to speak. He gets pummeled with bullets, and that's where they leave you off. It turns out Tony Stark's brother is supplying the, what were they called? It was in bold. Oops. He was supplying the pro-democracy forces. In other words, he was supplying the bad guys, and this is where they leave you off here. There's 2 more parts to this. I probably will just grab it just to see the end, but...
My point is he really going to die for good? No, that was my point.
No, but this is the Ultimate Universe. Marvel says that, I almost said DC, Marvel says that anything goes in the Ultimate Universe because it has no ramifications on the actual universe. So,
you know, I'll give it possibility.
And now we're going to follow Spider-Man's tale in Ultimate Spider-Man number 158. Spider-Man leaves the bridge, and while back at his house, Aunt May and Gwen are now gone, but Bobby and Johnny just get home. And it turns out the Sinister Six show up at the door as they're leaving, and it's the Human Torch and Iceman versus the Sinister Six. Doesn't go very well. So Spider-Man ends up showing up in what, the last 3 pages,
I like this universe.
and he takes Vulture out like that. He takes Vulture out like that. And this is the next villain in the movie, mind you. Took Vulture out like that,
That's
1 page, like that.
Wow.
Well, actually, it's not the Sinister Six anymore, too, because they killed Doc Ock. It's the Sinister Five right now, because they killed, like I said, they killed Doc Ock.
1 page.
And basically, you just have 1 big page of Pete saying, "Who's next?" And it's the Sinister Four now, because he just took out the Vulture. To be continued. They say the whole death is going to take place in Ultimate Spider-Man number 160. After 160, I doubt this will be showing up on my review anymore, because the Ultimate Universe it isn't the Marvel Universe. It's making up its own rules, and at the same time, it's just
don't like that universe. Like
boring. Sleeping time. Anyway, X-Men Prelude to Schism Part 2. In this one, we get the opposing point of view. Scott asks for Magneto's advice. So in this one, we get a tale from Magneto's past where he talks about his father and stuff that went on in his past, which was World War II and stuff like that. And then his advice to Scott, he tells Scott what he did wrong, and he says whatever decision he makes, it'll be the right one. And that's where they kind of leave it off, where he says he goes back to when he first met Cyclops, and he's like, no words can express how much I would like to thank you, but from my father, who was a great hero, thank you. And that's where they leave you off. And the next cover has Cyclops on the cover, so I'm guessing he's going to be the main focus in that one. I'm waiting for the Wolverine focus, because Schism is between Wolverine and Cyclops, and we're already on the halfway point, because this is a 4-part series. And all it is about Cyclops and making this big decision, and we still don't know what this big decision is, whether to run or to stay, and we don't know what happens if they stay. So, yeah. It was a little bit of a blast from the past. Also, you get to see the old X-Men a little bit,
Cool.
which we'll talk about the old X-Men soon too, but that's in a later issue. Silver Surfer, Part 4 of 5, winding down. We're at the pendulum issue here. The FF shows up in this issue and help Ronan get his Silver Surfer powers back. And basically that's the whole point of this issue, was FF saving him, then finding a way to get him his powers back, and to be concluded. Yeah. Really glad I got this miniseries. One thing I will compliment, as always, is the artwork. The artwork is astounding, and the FF, once again, is one of the most amazing and epic teams at the moment, in my opinion, in the Marvel Universe. Sorry, love Spidey in the FF costume. I'm being honest, I'm going to see how this whole plays out. I am going to get the last part. It's going to be Silver Surfer, Herald versus Herald in the last part. Cannot wait for that. And speaking of FF, Amazing Spider-Man number 661, FF beginning. Starts off with him with the FF, and there's a lot of references here to Pete's old job where he was a teacher. And when they leave the FF headquarters, Reed Richards leaves his son in charge of the class, and Spidey's like, well, I could be in charge of the class, and in a very nice way, Reed Richards says no, because they see you more as a friend than a role model, because Spidey acts very immature when he's Spider-Man. I'm sorry, he really does, especially when he's around the FF. For some weird reason, Spider-Man acts like a kid around the FF. Yeah, this is the Avengers Academy makes a guest appearance. Anyway, during the mission, Giant Man shows up. Beautiful artwork, by the way. I'll show you guys Giant Man, and he's
artwork and comical.
Yeah, and he has Ben to actually substitute for Avengers Academy, and that's when Pete just has it. Here's a picture of Giant Man, his little intro. And Pete has and says, you know what, I used to be a teacher, I have a license to teach. And then he's like, oh, well, that changes everything. And basically he goes off to, after talking to Carly about his sub work, without mentioning it's sub work as Spider-Man, and he does the substitution work in the classroom, which goes very badly, by the way. And it's like, who wants to go on patrol? And everybody goes on patrol. Another nice picture right there, nice artwork, beautiful artwork. And then they come across, oh, what's this guy's name? I can't remember his name for the freaking life of me. He is the Psycho Man. He basically can make people think things, certain emotions. And basically the Avengers Academy start ripping each other, well, one of them starts to rip them apart, and he's basically playing off of their fears and stuff. It's all about their fears, really. And then Spidey basically breaks his fear and breaks the control box, but it turns out that Psycho Man doesn't need the control box anymore, and they leave you up, that's Reptile Boy, and they leave you up with the Avengers Academy facing off against Spidey and, oh boy, to be concluded. And then they give you a little short, a day in, I believe it's called A Day in the Life of Spider-Man. That's a day, oh here, Spider-Man, Just Another Day. Basically a full day in the life of Spidey with interesting artwork, not great, not bad, but pretty good. And in the end, it's like, his top thing is to get some more sleep. Very nice little side story. Looking forward to the next part, but at the same time, I believe this Avengers Academy thing is like a filler series. This kind of feels like a filler series between two big events, because I believe after Avengers Academy, it's all going to be leading into Spider Island. Which, by the way, for those of you who are collecting Fear Itself and Flashpoint, Spider Island is going to have a ton of tie-ins too. Spider-Girl and FF. And a few other things.
Yeah, in every book.
And they're gonna have, and there's gonna be one-shots and mini-series 3 parts, and there's gonna be a Spider Island standalone story arc.
Wow.
I don't know what's gonna happen, but I'm telling you, a lot of stories are definitely not gonna make it to this comic book review.
Too many.
Now we're on X-23 number 10, which I and Amber both read. Go Amber, you go ahead, you start it off, and I'll conclude it.
I can do this very quickly first.
Sure, go ahead.
X-23 is cutting herself. Gambit finds out, calls Wolverine, and Gambit talk after,
I thought you talked to...
Hold on. After Wolverine brings Jubilee into the picture, X-23 tries to kill Jubilee.
Because she thinks she's the bad guy.
Yeah. And, Gambit talks to Wolverine and says, you treat X-23 and Jubilee completely different.
And she does.
It ends pretty much with X-23 cutting her throat and Jubilee trying to bite her.
Because she shows Jubilee blood. And also what you forgot to mention was X-23 has a moment and she accidentally hurts Gambit.
I like that artwork. It's really
The
nice.
artwork is absolutely
amazing. Chris, I didn't give the entire story.
Oh, well.
I gave almost the entire story.
Yeah. But the artwork is beautiful, as always. Wolverine looks amazing. This artist did Wolverine awesome. Look at her. And this is X-23, by the way.
She doesn't.
But they made Wolverine look perfect.
Very realistic.
My God. This is Wolverine, people. Look at these. Look at these pictures. I want the world to see this. This is how Wolverine should look all the time. My God. This artist has to do some X-Men books. This artist definitely has to do some this is an X-Men book, but this artist has to go into X-Men or Uncanny X-Men because this artwork is beautiful. Who's the artist he deserves? Artwork by Takeda.
Sana Takeda.
Beautiful. 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 I love it. I hope they keep this person for a long time at Marvel. Doing books that I read, of course, because if they're not doing books I read, well then they're not helping me at all.
True.
Beautiful. Cover, they make Jubilee look really weird, but other than that, yeah, very good. Okay, now the book that everybody that's been, they've been posting and doing a lot of promoting. X-Men Giant Size #1. The first to last part 1. This is going to be continued in Uncanny X-Men. Basically, something happened in the past with the X-Men, the original X-Men, which are the X-Men you see here, and Scott's having a dream in the beginning of this issue, and it's Jean trying to tell him, don't forget, and he's like, what? And then the Neo people, which are the mutants, but they're higher evolved mutants, as far as what I read here, attack Utopia, and even after Cyclops says, don't engage, Wolverine engages them anyway, and that's what causes the huge fight. And then Cyclops has like this big, huge brain headache aneurysm thing where he blacks out after this point. The artwork is great, by the way. I love Ed McGuinness's cover artwork. And he has a flashback to the past, and then you're in the past, by the way, beautiful splash page of the past X-Men. Wish they made books like this again, because this feels like the X-Men. Because notice who's not on the X team. Emma Frost. Right. And after that, Scott Summers in the very end remembers who shows up, which are these people, and I forgot what they're called. Oh God, come on. The Evolutionaries. That's these people right here, and this is in the past still. And right after remembering this part, Scott snaps out of it and says, we got to get the Professor, Reed Richards, and Henry Pym, and also Beast. And then they show up in the present again saying, Cyclops, you lied, but about what? And we don't know. And then they basically just take out the Neo people. I mean, the entire world's worth of Neo people are gone. They show every spot where the Neo people's headquarters were, and they're gone. And in the end, you get a one-page thing where it's the past and the present. Basically, the Evolutionaries want to preserve Homo Superior, the mutants. And by doing that, they feel they have to eliminate the human race. And that wasn't the last page, by the way. This is the last page where they're in the past with the babies and everything. It's to be continued in. Oh, it's I'm sorry. Correction. It's not to be continued in Uncanny X-Men. It's going to be continued in X-Men 12, which we don't have X-Men this week. Okay, so this is going to be continued in X-Men. Correction. Sorry, not Uncanny. Uncanny, I believe, is leading into Schism. And now we're into DC Comics. Supergirl 64, concluding the Duplex story arc. Long story short, Miss Martian was pretending to be under Duplex, the clone Duplex's control, and Supergirl gets the upper hand. They knock out Duplex. The end. Yeah, seriously, the end. It was literally the tides changed in 2 pages, and that was it. The whole story was over.
Built up.
The climax built up to like this epic fight that never happened. Miss Martian went into Duplex's mind. Turns out he never actually invaded her mind, and she cuts off his powers, and then basically Supergirl just punches him and knocks him out. And then Lois Lane can't publish the story because there was an agreement between them and Stars Labs, and they're trying to make Duplex good. And then the last splash page was basically the best one. Her flying off because there's trouble. She was talking to Lois. Lois was offering to take her out to, I believe, have coffee or dinner or whatnot. A victory here is victory. Wrong page. A victory dinner at Luigi's, and yeah, she had to turn it down. The end.
Not Mario, but Luigi.
Good story. Looking forward to the next one. She does say one thing, that she's not on Superman's level, but should anything happen to him, she's ready to step up. Main important part.
Yeah, it is.
That's past Batman. And now the conclusion of Sorcerer's Kings in Superman Batman 84. Superman is in this twisted future, and he has to stop the creature from being sent from the present, which the creature is called, you done, Mike? Because this time I have the creature's name right on the splash page where it breaks free. Gargora. Basically, the JLA of this dark future attacks. They kick some ass. They try to kill Superman, but Batman gets in the way, of course. Superman kicks Gargora's ass, and they go back to the present, and Superman stops them from releasing Gogora in the present, and that's the end. Artwork is very nice on certain splash pages, like this one. This artwork is beautiful. I'm running through these very fast this week. No offense, guys, but none of the comics actually... like, every week I have at least one comic book that really stands out. There is one, and that's the comic book, the last comic I'll be doing, but these comic books were fast reads. I guess that's what you could call it.
Rushed and all of that.
No, not only that, the story can be explained very easily, whereas in other comics it isn't as easy, but really they seem like all these comics this week were kind of like a rush. Like there are rush endings, rush conclusions. This was a conclusion, this was a conclusion. X-23 was the first part, Spidey was the first part. Everything's either a conclusion, a pendulum issue, or another conclusion, or something that's really not worth talking too much about. Teen Titans 95, the demon that is walking around as a Revenger does this to Superboy to throw him off. They basically capture the entire Teen Titans team except for Beast Boy and Solace. And Ragnarok, or not Ragnarok, because that's a Thor reference. Drains all their powers, and no, Rancor. Sorry, Rancor. With all of them in the cage, he rises, and that's this issue. Yeah, I know, these issues went by. This week, I'll be honest, I read through these comics, and usually it takes me about 2-3 hours. It took me a half hour to read through all of these comics. It was literally a fast and easy read for me this week, except for this comic, which was more where we got more into it. And yeah, so that's it. Yeah, Rancor rises in this one. Basically, the entire team except Beast Boy gets taken out. I'm sorry, guys, if this is going by really fast, but yeah. Booster Gold 44. Dan Jurgens' artwork is amazing, even though Superman is not in this. Wow. Okay, Booster Gold is with Rip. Well, it takes. It happens where he's now in the Flashpoint universe. It starts off with him in Coast City. He's looking for Green Lantern, and the people at the Flashpoint universe think he's an Atlantean because he can fly and he has powers. So they attack him, and then in the middle of this attack, he has a little bit of a flashback where he's with Rip and his sister talking, and Rip is talking about we have to discuss the stuff that's written on this blackboard because something's going to happen, and all of a sudden there's like a huge hiccup like in the Flash comic, and he is now in the Flashpoint universe, and then it goes back to them attacking Booster Gold. Booster Gold tries to jump off out of the timeline into a past or present time, and basically he gets stuck, and Skeets gets his engines fried, so to speak, and they're stuck there. And basically, last page, spoiler, the Doomsday of Flashpoint shows up. And that's where they leave you off, and I'm getting the finger from Mike. So how many minutes do we have? 29 flat?
28 minutes and 16 seconds.
Oh, that's fine. We have 29 up to. Awesome artwork. You just saw great artwork there. Get through this really quick so you guys won't have to worry about getting cut off. Booster Gold 44. Awesome. Absolutely get it. It's the only other comic that's connected to Flashpoint. Teen Titans 95. Awesome. Check it out. Conclusion in Superman Batman 84. Really good story arc. I wasn't sure, but it really ended great. Supergirl 64 ended really pretty good. Not really good, but pretty good. X-Men Giants is #1. Absolutely pick it up. Really awesome artwork. Really great stuff. X-23 number 10. Amazing. Awesome. Love the artwork. Amazing Spider-Man 661. Good start. It could be better, but it's a filler. Silver Surfer 4 of 5. I'm getting the last part, leaving it up to you guys. X-Men Schism Part 2 of 4. Pretty good. Mario. Magneto's point of view. Ultimate Spider-Man 158. Really liking it. This one is the best out of all of it, but I'm probably going to drop this when it's done. Avengers vs. New Ultimates Part 4 of 6. Namor First Mutant Annual. Artwork was terrible. Lady Death 5.
Very good.
And finally, Soldier Zero number 8. Awesome. And everybody go check out Thor Tales of Asgard. Came out this week on Tuesday. Alright guys, so that's it for this week. See you guys next week. Sorry for the rush ending and the rush job. Next week will be better, hopefully.
And it wasn't the end of the world.
And we didn't die.
Oh, yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
We're past the 21st. See you guys next time.
It's actually the 22nd.
Yep.
Yay.